I'm Janet.
My name is Sherry.
Hi, my name's Brittany.
Peter.
Lydia.
I'm Justin.
Heather.
I'm Gabriella. My name is Irene Roy. I'm the president of Mareeborough District Cricket Club.
And I'm from Maryborough.
I live in Bundaberg.
I'm from the Gold Coast.
Clanker.
I live in Wronga.
Burpengary.
And I'm from Ormo.
And I'm from Maronga Downs. What really matters to me is healthcare and the satellite hospitals.
What matters most to me is getting healthcare, some of the best quality healthcare in the world.
The community spirit.
Cost of living and fuel.
Healthcare is what really matters to me and to Heather.
Roads and transport.
Team camaraderie and getting people around here to watch the game.
Better cost of living, rent and affordable housing.
Rentals and just buying a house in general.
What matters the most to me is having a secure roof over my head. It's the place where we spend the most of our time. It's really important for building a family and a community.
I'm a cancer survivor and Heather has special needs, so we find that access to healthcare is really, really important, and we're quite pleased with the access we have here in Queensland.
And way Stephen's doing things.
Yes, it means a lot to us.
Proud to be a Queenslander. True, definitely, yeah.
Well, good morning, everyone. I am so delighted to be here this morning to officially launch Labor's campaign for the 2024 state election. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all this morning. I'm Shannon Fentiman. I'm the member for Waterford. I'm your Minister for Health, Mental Health, Ambulance Services and Minister for Women. And before we get started this morning, I would like to invite Mary Doctor to the stage to do an acknowledgement of country for us with Everson, her grandson. Let's make Mary very welcome.
Around, you can see people there. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mary Doctor, born on Waka Waka country. I come from Quandamooka, Ginniburra, Cobble Cobble and Cook-Arlingee. I'm Western Sunset people. I am Mullerigi. I'd like to welcome everyone here today and acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land in which we meet, all elders past, present and emerging. And I want to pay a little tribute to my grandson Iverson. He performs up at Woodford every year during for Ginniburra, and he does traditional dance. They all do. I just want to I am Labor and I am Union. And I'm very proud of that, and I tell everybody the only ones that had my back when I worked in the government was Union. But we're here for the election, and I just want to make sure that I went to a conference, 2-day conference in the city, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we had speakers there, and their message was get up off the couch and vote. No use sitting back and whinging. You know, we had people who have grave concerns for Queenslanders if, you know, we've got to keep Labor in power. I went to Darwin about a week after the election up there, and I was listening to, you know, when you're in a coffee shop and they've got a chair, and I'm listening to some people on the other side, and they were talking about how they registered a protest vote and they voted for the oh God, I can't even say their name, but anyway, you know who I'm talking about. And their concern was they thought that the new laws for youth only affected Aboriginal children. And she said, so my grandkids get in trouble all the time, so it's going to affect them too. And the other lady said, well, no, really, like we are not blackfellas. It's only going to affect the blackfellas. And I'm thinking to myself, no, it's going to affect everybody. So don't register a protest vote. Tell your families and your friends. I text Premier, I think it was 2 weeks ago, to say he's got 7 votes now in our family. So Iverson's brother turned 18 and his sister is 19, and they're keen to vote, and they are also getting their friends to help out on the booths on the day. So we got to get everybody out, got to get them off the couch. I talked to a lot of different people, and I just saw my tribe over there in the front row. We want the best for Queensland, and Stephen is the best person to take us forward. And his ministers, his cabinet are the best people to take us forward. We can't afford anything less. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary and Iverson, for that very generous and warm acknowledgement of country, and thank you so much for your support. I'd also like to begin by respectfully acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we gather this morning and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. And I want to acknowledge our Premier of Queensland, Stephen Miles. Hasn't he been doing a wonderful job? I've known Stephen for 20 years, and I have never been prouder of him than in the last 10 months since he became our Premier. And he has worked incredibly hard. And I know that the more Queenslanders see of him, the more they like him, and they love how committed he is to doing what matters for Queensland. Can I also acknowledge with us today our Deputy Premier and Treasurer, Cameron Dick, all of my wonderful hard-working Cabinet colleagues and parliamentary colleagues that are here today, as well as our hard-working Labor candidates. Let's give them a round of applause. They've been working hard, knocking on doors, making phone calls. Can I acknowledge the National Labor President, Wayne Swan, our State President, John Badhams, our wonderful State Secretary, Kate Flanders, and the incredible team from Labor HQ. Thank you for all your hard work. We have the former Premier of Queensland, Peter Beattie, and Heather Beattie with us today. Thank you so much for coming. We're joined by union leaders, life members, branch members and supporters. And today I also want to give a special shout out to all of the family and friends that have joined us today. And in particular, I'd really like to acknowledge the Premier's family, his wife Kim, and Sam, Aidan and Bridie. I know his proud parents are here today as well. Welcome to Chris and Bruce. Thank you for sharing Stephen with us and with Queensland. We really appreciate it. Friends, my job today is to introduce Cameron Dick to speak, our wonderful Deputy Premier and Treasurer. However, before the Deputy Premier takes the stage, we do have an important video message from our health workers, because we know the LNP's record when it comes to health is cuts. And this election is no different. And it has been Cameron that has been holding the LNP to account, tracking their $17 billion of unfunded election commitments so that we don't see more health workers sacked. It has been Cameron that has been leading the charge, making sure that David Crisafulli can't slip into government, because we all know in this room that only Labor will ensure that Queenslanders have access to quality, free healthcare closer to home. Let's take a listen.
I'm a physiotherapist at Prince Charles Hospital, and I was there for close on 30 years or so. I was made redundant by the Newman government. My mental health at that point in time was at an all-time low. It's the only time I've ever been medicated in my life for mental health. The scars run deep. I was told at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, when all of my colleagues had gone, when I had no support, and was told, look, come back tomorrow, but your job is gone and you've got time to clean up your desk. But it was absolutely horrendous. People were really quite anxious. Up until that time, we'd had a really positive culture, a workplace culture where we were family. And at that time, the elbows became sharper. People were looking over their backs. People were trying to create a case why they shouldn't be approached to be made redundant. You would go home every day feeling ill. You know, the number of people who were crying at the end of every day because they didn't know what was going to be happening.
As a healthcare worker, I remember what the cuts did to this region. I've got friends that lost their jobs. Vital services to the region were cut. We lost our homeless health outreach team. And for me, that means that's caused a flow-on effect that sees added stresses today to their services in Cairns, especially mental health services. And we're concerned that not only are our patients going to suffer, but also we may suffer and we may be losing jobs. We can't risk it. We can't risk any more cuts to health.
No forced redundancy was the word. And what happened was they got elected with a vast majority, and things changed. So what happened is the job cuts came down the line from the bureaucrats, and it ended up that I'm a frontline health worker, and in each of our sections, 2 people had to be let go. It looked like the LNP state government was at war with Queenslanders. Just a month or 2 ago, I heard the same words again, no forced redundancies. And it sent a shiver up my spine because it was the scariest time of my working life. I am very concerned and quite fearful about what may happen in the future. How can one work very effectively when you've got this stress behind you, when you've got a family at home and you've got this chance of having to be retired before your time?
And friends, that is exactly why we are fighting for Queensland's future. G'day everyone and welcome. I am so proud today that we are meeting on the land of Aboriginal people. I pay my respects to elders past and present as I acknowledge all First Nations people who join us here today. And can I also begin my remarks today by saying this: you pick the place, you pick the date, you pick the time, because Jared Blay, I'm ready to debate you. And because, Jared, if you're watching, and I know you are, just remember this. If you've got something to say it to my face. Friends, make no mistake, we are in a great fight for Queensland's future, and this is a fight we intend to win. Friends, it is a fight about doing what matters for Queenslanders, about providing the cost of living relief that Queenslanders deserve. about ensuring Queenslanders have a place to call home and ensuring that they feel safe and are safe in that home, making sure we have the best hospitals and schools and making sure we properly pay the nurses and teachers who work there. Friends, every election should be a contest of ideas and a contest about the future. And our Labor government has made it absolutely clear, crystal clear to Queenslanders about what we stand for. Detailed, evidence-based and fully funded policies. Cost of living relief, funded by making coal companies pay their fair share. More housing for Queenslanders, better hospitals and healthcare, including mental health services paid for by big business. Community safety plans that are based on hard evidence, not slick slogans. But friends, there is so much more that we need to do. As everyone here today knows, we are a tested team with a plan for the future. And we are telling Queenslanders every day about what we will spend and how we will pay for it. You can't say the same thing about our opponents. David Crisafulli is setting new records as the smallest of small target opposition leaders. The media are now so frustrated with his small target strategy that they've started a running total of the number of times each day he avoids answering a particular question, and the record is 39 times in one day. 39 times in one day that he refused to answer a question. Now, I know it's hard to get David Crisafulli and truth in the same room at the same time. I know that's a big ask. He can't tell the truth to Queenslanders about the $200,000 in hush money he paid for his failed training company. Look, he can't even tell Queenslanders the truth about where he actually lives. Look, he won't tell Queenslanders, and this is the most serious point, he won't tell Queenslanders the truth about what he really believes. For example, 1 year ago, David Crisafulli said he supported treaty and he voted for it. Now he says he doesn't. 6 months ago, David Crisafulli said he supported emissions reduction and he voted for it. Now he says he doesn't. And now, David Crisafulli says he won't change abortion laws in Queensland, even though he voted against decriminalising abortion in this state. What makes you or any other Queenslander think he's telling the truth this time? But I'll tell you the truth. You cannot trust a single word that David Crisafulli says. So when David Crisafulli promises he won't cut, well, you know what's going to happen next. David Crisafulli has committed to more than $17 billion in unfunded election promises. Yet at the same time, he's promising lower debt and lower taxes and now balanced budgets. David Crisafulli has left himself only one path, and that path is to cut. Despite his attempts to hide the truth, well, sometimes Dave says the quiet bit out loud. Sometimes Dave lets the truth slip out. Last week, the LNP released their health policy. In that policy, which David Crisafulli said was the most detailed plan ever taken to an election, a plan that he said was a seismic shift. His words, not mine. In that plan, the LNP admitted they will cut 1,200 hospital beds and 12,000 health workers. Now that's written down in their own health policy. Seismic, all right. Friends, that wasn't a mistake. The LNP got out the calculator and cut out all of the non-clinical workers from Queensland Health's workforce plan. And that is just the beginning, because David Crisafulli and the LNP have to cut even more to fund $17 billion worth of unfunded promises. If this is what the LNP are saying and doing now, just imagine what the LNP would do if they were in government in Queensland. So, friends, we need to stop them. We must sound the warning loudly, because the LNP have done everything they can to hide their real plans for Queensland. We need to tell Queenslanders there is another way, a better, fairer way for our state. There is a leader who has spent every one of the 303 days he's been the Premier of Queensland working to make life better for Queenslanders. Thanks to 50-cent fares, Queenslanders know what he stands for, and how good are 50-cent public transport fares? Thanks to $1,000 electricity bill rebates, Queenslanders know what he believes in. And yeah, what about a round of applause for $1,000 off your power bill? Don't thank me, thank Progressive Coal Royalties. And thanks to Sunday lunchbox chats, Queenslanders have absolutely no doubt in their minds about where he actually lives. A real Queenslander from the outer suburbs, like so many of us here today. And as those lunchbox chats show, he's a Queensland dad backed by a wonderful family. So, friends, yeah, another round of applause for the team. Team Miles. So, friends, there is so much more to fight for, and fight on we must. But first, let's hear from those people who've known our leader, our Premier, Stephen Miles, for the longest.
My name's Christine Miles. I'm Stephen's mum.
I'm Bruce. I'm Steve's father.
My name's Aidan.
My name's Sam.
Hey, I'm Kim. I'm Stephen's wife.
I'm Riley. I'm the favourite.
My name's Don Riley. I had the pleasure of teaching Stephen Miles nearly 40 years ago at Petrie State School.
My name's Pat Sunder. Bruce Abbott brought this young fellow in to join the branch, and because it was Stephen, he was only a teenager, and Stephen had gone for a driving lesson, I think, that day, and Bruce realised, as young as Stephen was, he had an interest in politics, and Bruce said to him, "We've got a branch meeting tonight, do you want to come?" And I think Stephen said, "I can't get there," so Bruce said, "Don't worry, I'll bring the car and I'll pick you up." So I think that's how that all started.
Growing up, he was a good kid. He tried a lot of sport, much like me, and never achieved much of any of them.
He loved chips, mashed potato and steak.
I told him many times that I'm extremely proud of him.
As a person, I think he's what you see is what you get.
Best dad.
Nailed it. Fun. Yeah, he's fun.
Is that the 3 words?
Yeah, that was lots of words.
I love him. There we go.
We liked watching rugby league and AFL, but we used to play like rugby league at the park, but yeah, he wasn't that ship sailed. Yeah.
One thing that happens throughout the year, I used to say to a lot of the boys, "You're going to turn me grey, Stephen." And a funny thing happened, end of the year when the children give you a present, his present, probably from his mum, was a bottle of hair dye, which I actually had kept until about 10 years ago, but I never used it. But I think I need it now.
Every night before dinner, he makes us all like a little sculpture out of our kitchen utensils.
He doesn't have enough spare time. When he had more time, he enjoys brewing his own beer.
Every Christmas, he makes a sticky date pudding. I don't eat much of it, but everyone else likes it.
And he likes
reading. He does like reading when he can.
I was invited to the swearing in, and that was quite an emotional time. I heard on the ABC the one-liner, "Premier takes the bus to see the governor." I love it.
When he was captain, he was a good leader, and I can see now that quality's coming through.
Well, he's always wanted to make a difference. He's got this mindset that he wants to make Queensland so much better for everybody. And it's not for himself. He's working for the people of Queensland. And
Good luck, Steve. Certainly proud of you. No matter what you do in life, you'll achieve.
We need to have a lot more of Stephen, so we're looking forward to the next 4 years.
So, friends, to introduce our Premier, can I introduce two of the people who know him the best. Please welcome Kim McDowell and Bridie Miles.
Good morning, everyone. When Stephen decides he wants to achieve something, he will work to make it happen. And when I say work, I mean work really hard, relentlessly, inexhaustibly, particularly when he's working to benefit others. You've seen this in action for years now, but it's never been more on display than since taking over the tremendous privilege that is being Premier of our great state just less than 10 months ago. Stephen's capacity to see something needs to be done and make it happen was one of the things I loved about him when we met working together many years ago. He has this capacity to be quietly writing the plan to make positive change happen while the rest of us are still passionately discussing the problems. He doesn't just talk about things. He works out what needs to change and the steps required to get there. I've continued to love this and so much more about him over our almost 20 years married. I watch him work hard without ego. He has great main character energy with humility. Stephen and I both started out as outer suburban kids with parents who worked hard to make comfortable lives for us. Stephen's journey started a few suburbs over in Bray Park and then Petrie, mine on the south side growing up in River Hills. My love for Stephen converted me to Team Northside, eventually bringing with me my mum and dad to Bunya, and my brother and sister-in-law with their amazing kids having bought their first home in Brackenridge. Stephen and I are blessed with amazing kids. Sam, Aidan and Bridie are our proudest achievement. Aidan and Bridie are here today. Sam is at a school leadership camp. Bringing our kids up in the suburbs feels very familiar to Stephen and I. Although I must say, having the proximity that my kids have to a Westfield at North Lakes, I would have killed for as a teenage girl. As a teenage girl, I regularly jumped on a long, windy bus ride to Westfield Indooroopilly to meet up with friends. And you know what? 30 years ago, that bus ride would have cost me more than it would today. Let's hear it again for 50 cent fares. I'm thrilled to have Bridie standing next to me today. It's been so lovely watching her natural and relaxed energy appearing with her dad in his lunchbox chats and, on the odd occasion, national television. The kids and I are so proud of Stephen and the important work he is doing and plans for our state. For the future of our kids, for the important work he is doing and his plans for our state. For the future of our kids and every Queensland child. Standing beside him while he is making great things happen in our state is an amazing thing, and we know he's only just getting started. He's fighting for the future of Queensland because he really cares about it, and he cares about all of us.
Hey, let's watch this video.
We've got a cool...
A historic moment for Queensland today. Stephen Miles sworn in as the state's 40th Premier. He wasted no time making his priorities clear.
Stephen Miles said we're delivering the biggest cost of living relief package in Queensland history.
I'm not about to die wondering.
Announcing savings for every Queensland household.
Stephen Miles is promising Queenslanders will not pay a single cent for electricity, increasing the state's power rebate to $1,000.
The savings will be delivered off the back of revenue from coal royalties.
Public transport fares are about to be slashed to 50 cents in Queensland.
You can go anywhere you like on bus, train, tram or ferry.
Queensland's 50-cent public transport fares are set to become permanent.
Premier has today rolled out his promise to limit petrol price increases to 5 cents a day.
Labor would trial 12 publicly owned fuel stations selling petrol and diesel, with stations to also include electric vehicle fast chargers.
Labor has revealed a bold plan for a second government-owned energy retailer, which the Premier says will increase competition and drive down your electricity bills.
Hundreds more homes and thousands of social housing options are now being promised to give our most vulnerable a fighting chance.
An announcement from the state government could help thousands of Queenslanders a year enter the property market.
The Labor government raising the threshold from $500,000.
Will lift the stamp duty concession threshold to $700,000.
New laws, including a ban on rent bidding, have been introduced to Parliament.
Make renting
fairer, safer and easier for the 600,000 Queenslanders currently in the rental market.
This week, the government will make a major health announcement. 7 new satellite hospitals will be built across Queensland.
Our health big build is delivering right around the state $14 billion worth of new health facilities.
What's soon to be the state's first free nurse-led clinic designed to give patients a free alternative to the GP and take pressure off the state's busiest emergency departments.
A life-changing announcement today for many future parents. Free IVF will soon be available here in Queensland for those fighting cancer and other serious illnesses.
A major breakthrough for women's health in Queensland tonight, with Australia's first public endometriosis clinic officially open on the Gold Coast.
Queensland Premier Stephen Miles announced that government vouchers aimed to offset the rising costs of children's sport will increase to $200 from July 1. But now the government's promised a complete discount of 20% for all vehicles will apply from September this year.
But there is so much more to do. I will work relentlessly for Queenslanders every day that I'm trusted with this role.
I am very proud to introduce my husband, Sam, Aidan and...
my dad, member for Marumba and Premier of Queensland, Stephen Miles.
Friends, thank you all for being here today to launch our campaign for a Miles Labor government. We are all here today because we believe in doing what matters for Queensland. I've always been motivated by making sure kids have as much or more than we do. For me, that's what Labor is all about. We aren't in this fight because it is easy. We are in it because we believe in progress. But we are at a crossroads. And as you know, this election means more than most. It's a clear choice between a government I lead that will keep Queensland moving forward or an LNP that will wind back the things we've fought so hard for and cut the things Queenslanders rely on. For me, I grew up in Petrie, not far from where we are today, but it was a world away from Brisbane City. I was the first person in my family to go to university, and I could do that because of good Labor government policy. But there were challenges. One of them was the cost of travelling from Petrie to UQ every day. It made me think, why do we penalise the people who live furthest away with the highest public transport costs, when they are the ones we most want to get off the road? Well, I've finally been able to do something about that. But I'll have a bit more to say about that later on. Being Queensland Premier is the greatest honour of my life. It's been just 10 short months, and in that time I've aimed to make every single day count. I launched the South East Queensland Regional Plan for almost 900,000 more homes by 2046, making sure young people can buy their first home without being priced out of the market. I delivered new police helicopters in Townsville, Cairns, Wide Bay and the Sunshine Coast, helping Queenslanders to feel safe by driving down crime. I launched our $3.1 billion Homes for Queenslanders plan to build more homes faster, support renters, help first homeowners, boost our social housing build and work to end homelessness. I launched our evidence-based community safety plan underpinned by $1.28 billion, a plan that supports victims, delivers more frontline policing, detains offenders to protect the community and prevents crime before it occurs. I delivered every Queensland household at least $1,000 off their energy bill. That's the biggest cost of living relief initiative of any state government ever. We backed that up with my first budget, including $11.2 billion in cost of living relief and a record 10.6% increase in the health budget. And we launched the Putting Queensland Kids First plan, which invests $500 million to make sure our littlest Queenslanders are getting the best start in life, so they can have a bright and productive future. That's a personal passion of mine, helping kids as early as we can to give them the best future that we can. I opened the 7th of 7 brand new satellite hospitals, bringing healthcare closer to home and taking pressure off our emergency departments, something I started when I was the health minister. In August, we launched 50-cent fares on public transport, all modes, all zones, all over the state. That kid from Petrie finally did it. I made the train cheaper. In September, everyone started to get 20% off their car rego. And just yesterday, we announced the biggest intervention in primary care of any state or territory ever. 50 bulk billing GP clinics across the state, helping Queenslanders to get long-term continuous care by a local GP without the huge out-of-pocket expenses. We've worked hard, we've backed the evidence, we've taken tough decisions, and now we are seeing signs that we are turning a corner. But good governments don't just deal with the here and now, we also look to the future. If elected, we will deliver an energy price guarantee to ensure our lower power bills stay lower by investing in our cheaper energy plan with publicly owned renewable energy. We are committed to a new publicly owned energy retailer that every Queenslander can access for lower prices, saving over $100 on our power bills and providing competition and access to better energy deals in the regions. We will deliver 12 publicly owned fuel stations to set benchmark prices where there isn't enough competition, while supporting more independent fuel stations and capping daily price increases at the bowser to 5 cents a litre. Our cost of living support is already making a difference, with inflation coming back to the range for the Reserve Bank to cut interest rates. Our Homes for Queenslanders plan is making a positive impact on the housing market a housing market that was overwhelmed by people moving here after the COVID pandemic. All of this progress and cost of living support is at risk on October 26, because these measures don't happen by accident. They start with the values you bring to the job as a leader. They're often not easy to implement, and making them happen relies on determination, building consensus, and strong economic management. These are things that have been entirely missing from the opposition's plans, because he doesn't want to get into the detail. Just look at how he's avoiding answering what he'll do about abortion. What does he believe? What are his values? And how can we believe he'll put them to one side when the rest of his team are so hell-bent on winding back access to termination of pregnancy for Queensland women? We know the LNP don't support our publicly owned energy retailer, our power rebates, or our plan to ease fuel prices. They don't support investment in publicly owned renewable energy or our price guarantee, because the LNP want to keep coal power stations open beyond their useful life, driving up power bills, abandoning our renewable energy and emissions reduction targets, all to make way for Peter Dutton's nuclear plan that would drive up power bills by up to $1,200 per household on average, forcing people's rooftop solar to turn off, costing them even more. Peter Dutton said it himself: the first step to a nuclear state is to elect Crisafulli. That means the first step to stopping nuclear is electing a Miles Labor government. At their core, the LNP don't care about cost of living pressures at the kitchen table, because they only believe in increasing profits for multinational companies at the boardroom table. The LNP's only cost of living plan is for coal companies. Friends, at this election, you have already seen more of our plan to build a better future for Queensland, to deliver another 3,580 hospital beds, including a new expansion to the Redland Hospital and an upgrade to the Mareeba Hospital, in addition to the new satellite hospitals only a re-elected Miles Labor government will deliver. In Mackay, Beenleigh, Fraser Coast, Rockhampton, Yarrabilba, the Sunshine Coast and Cairns. The largest build of new hospitals in our state's history. A plan backed by our commitment for the largest expansion in our state's health workforce, with 46,450 more health workers by 2032. Our plan to build a better future for Queensland is already supporting 72,000 jobs over the next year. We are investing over $5 billion to provide world-class infrastructure across our state schools. We are building the economic arteries of our state, including major upgrades to the Bruce Highway, the Coomera Connector, Direct Sunshine Coast Rail and Cross River Rail. A plan that we have expanded on with commitments to build the new Bribie Island and Barron River bridges and the Ipswich Central Second River Crossing. Our big build delivers copper string to open up an entirely new mining industry for the critical minerals the world needs for renewables, as well as publicly owned renewable energy backed up with the storage, including the Barumba and Pioneer Burdekin pumped hydro projects that are needed to move beyond coal. We are investing to support the future of our agricultural industry by backing the raising of Burdekin Falls Dam and a new Paradise Dam. We're backing our tourism industry with funding to support bush tourism infrastructure. We are delivering $325 power rebates to support small businesses, as well as a small business charter in partnership with the Small Business Association of Australia. All of that investment and infrastructure is at risk under the LNP's plan for cuts. Investments like the infrastructure at schools, community programs, and youth detention to actually address youth crime. We have a $1.28 billion community safety plan based on evidence that's starting to bring crime down. It includes 900 more police personnel on top of the 2,025 extra police personnel we will deliver by 2025. 3,000 more metal detecting wands to crack down on knives. 1,000 more tasers to help police do their jobs. I've also delivered new funding for early intervention programs for young people. We are using an evidence-based approach, investing in intervention services like the JT Academy, Traction and eSWAV to get kids back on the right track. The LNP have a slogan saying they will lock more people up by Christmas, up to 50% more, without any plan for more detention beds. That's not a plan, it's a con on Queenslanders. It's a recipe of cuts and chaos to take our state backwards. Friends, today I am outlining more of our positive plan for Queensland's future. I'm very excited to be making this announcement. It goes to what drives me and all of us here. We all want kids to have the best start in life, and they learn best with full tummies. That's why, if elected, Labor will create a universal school lunch program in our state primary schools. Under Labor, starting from next year, every parent will have the choice of a healthy free lunch provided Monday to Friday at every Queensland state primary school. All of the research shows that being well-fed improves children's focus and learning. This is a policy that will be good for kids, good for teachers, and good for parents too. And it's universal, to avoid stigmatising the kids that need the food the most, but also to ensure that it supports every Queensland family too. The free school lunches will be delivered in partnership with the Queensland Association of School Tuck Shops, PNC's Queensland, school principals, Health and Wellbeing Queensland, and non-government food providers. On average, this will save parents $1,600 a year per primary school student. Our free... Our free school lunch program will be backed by a $1.4 billion investment over the next 4 years. This is more than just a cost of living measure. It is an investment in our state's future. Free school lunches don't just improve the cost of living for parents by lowering grocery bills. Free school lunches improve educational, health, and life outcomes. The evidence is clear that nutrition directly impacts on how well a child learns, how their brain develops, and their mental health. universal free school meal programs have been evaluated to deliver a return of 2.5 times to 7 times in human health and economic benefits. Long-term studies have demonstrated that universal free school lunches lower social inequality, lift women's participation in the workforce, and help to prevent childhood obesity. By focusing more on fresh food, free school lunches also support more investment and jobs in local agricultural production. Children who have received free school lunches on average go on to earn more and live healthier lives than where there are no universal programs available. That's a direct investment in our state's economic productivity. Fundamentally, it is an investment in providing equality and fairness, giving everyone the chance to succeed in life. That's what the Labor Party stands for. It's what we believe in. This is what I have always wanted to do, to deliver alongside 50-cent public transport fares, because it means more of our young people will have a chance to achieve their dreams. We've been able to make these investments in our future because of our strong economic and budget management. By ensuring multinational mining companies return their fair share of super profits to Queenslanders for the resources that belong to them. Our measured budget management has delivered a stable AA+ credit rating outlook, combined with our economic plan delivering the strongest monthly jobs growth on average of any Queensland government on record. With an economy now worth over $500 billion a year and growing faster than any other in the nation. Queenslanders have a very real choice at the next election. A choice between a Miles Labor government that will build and invest to take Queensland forward, or an LNP government that will cut services, sack workers and sell assets and take our state backwards. Between a Labor government that will invest to deliver cheaper energy and 145,000 more jobs backed by renewable energy, or an LNP government that will keep coal open and pave the way for nuclear, taking our progress on the environment backwards. Between a future as the Sunshine State with the Great Barrier Reef, or the wait for a nuclear state with devastating impacts from climate change. Between taking our state forward with our $1 billion Women and Girls Health Strategy, expanding access to services and women's rights, or an LNP government that cuts services and takes away women's rights. There is so much on the line for the future of Queensland. We are in this fight, and we won't stop fighting to take Queensland forward. At the Cairns launch, I said that the Brisbane Lions could do it. And they did it. You are all part of a movement that can make our plan happen to improve the lives of Queenslanders, to do what matters for Queensland. So let's go make it happen.
Well done, mate.